Let's call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone. This is the October 31st, 2017 Board of Commissioners meeting. It's also Halloween, so happy Halloween. We're all dressed up here as commissioners, so thought we scary stuff.
Speak for themselves, right?
Well, so with that, we will move right into the consent agenda. On the consent agenda, we have approval of minutes for September 19th and October 3rd, 2017. Approval of payroll, October 5th and October 20th, 2017. Approval of claims, October 5th, October 12th, and October 26th. Treasurer's monthly report, October 30th. Weights and measures, monthly report, September 6th through October 15th, 2017. Then we go into the Memorial Opera House, Scott McDonald, Director. I'll let you say the names.
Torella, oh my goodness.
Right here.
Oh, fancy now. Torella Midas, Respite House, Brightside Music, Rob Harkle, Chris Lindstrat, Rachel Lauer, Don Parker, Brian Moore, Kyle Liskey, and James Simon. Those are artistic services agreement, except for Respite House, which is a venue rental agreement. Motion to approve.
We have a motion.
Second.
And a second for the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Right into new business. Commissioners, we are on a second reading here. This is an ordinance creating a non-reverting fund for receipt of earnings of the Porter County Government Nonprofit Charitable Foundation. It's our budget account. It's the second reading. I'll open up the floor.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve an ordinance creating a non-reverting fund for receipt of earnings for the nonprofit charitable foundation. On second reading. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next is the GTP Acquisition Partners 2 LLC license agreement for the 911 tower facility. Scott, why don't you give us a little prelim on that?
This is the agreement.
Is it I don't see.
I've got it.
And that's this is the, okay, I've got the right one. So this is for the Valparaiso South site. The tower facilities at 236 East 600 North Valparaiso. This is one of the tower locations that we'll be renting on for the new 911 system. $1,500 a month with a 3% escalator. It's a 20-year agreement. It's been gone over through, I've reviewed it, Motorola's reviewed it, 911's reviewed it. This is part of that overall program. I would recommend that it's ready for your approval.
Okay.
We also have a capital contribution fee, right? That's like the last page before the signature page.
$6,500. So that's a one-time capital contribution fee for us to install. Then it's
They had to make tower adjustments to
Right.
the support.
So for everybody out there in the audience, we have we're going to have 5 new towers for our 800 megahertz. 2 new ones are being built in South County. This is one that is an existing tower in Valparaiso area, which we're basically putting up a new antenna on and new signal to be able to catch that signal throughout the county. So I'll open up the floor to the board.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the GTP Acquisitions Partner License Agreement for the 911 Tower Facility located in Valparaiso, Indiana. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Next one is the American Tower Corporation. And this one, is this the one up north?
No.
I think this is the one, South County.
Yeah, this is part of South County also.
Okay. Oh, shit. Having technical difficulties here, so bear with me. So, and Scott, can you give us a little bit of what this is all about here?
This is, again, another lease for the 911 tower improvements, for us to be on the site for the, our 911 800 megahertz system.
And is this the one with Porter Township?
I believe it is.
So we have two towers going in south, one at the Hebron Garage, and the second tower is at the Porter Township Fire Department, and this is the lease that leases the property between the county and the township for the new tower, which I believe is standing tall right now. I think it's been erected, and we got some photos last week from the highway department. It's going up nicely. So this is a 200-foot monopole tower.
Correct.
So this is the agreement between Porter Township government and Porter County government.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the American Tower Corporation 911 Tower Facility Lease Agreement. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now we're going to move to a utility easement agreement for NIPSCO. This is for the Hebron Garage. We're still on tower business here, so bear with us. This is for the South County Garage, which is in Hebron. That's where the second large monopole tower is underway, under constructed. In order to service power for this tower, we needed to come up with a utility easement agreement with NIPSCO. This is that agreement. I'll open the floor.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for a utility easement agreement for NIPSCO for the South County Garage 911 Tower. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. Next, last piece of business is the RDC update. The RDC is basically the county's redevelopment corporation. In the past, over the last 5 to 10 years, the RDC has been somewhat dormant, really hasn't really been used for anything. I think in the past, a lot of the funds, some of the funds, it was a very small amount of funds that came in. It was diverted over to the Porter County Alliance, and then that group would use the money accordingly. As of this year, we are now halting any funding to the Porter County Alliance. All of the monies that are in that account will be held in the Regional Development Corporation account, and what we have been doing over the last 6 months is getting the RDC fired up again. We have a whole new board. We've done some board educational work, trying to get our board members up to speed as to what the Redevelopment Commission really does. I think a lot of people read a lot about redevelopment commissions with regards to cities, more so than county. They're two very different redevelopment commissions, even though they sound the same. Their statutory authority is a little bit different. Cities have a little bit more urban situations and backfill things that they can work within their municipal boundaries. County, it's a little bit more difficult to do that because we're sort of spread out over a pretty big area. What we're planning on using this redevelopment commission for is not really to do any big projects or really any heavy lifting, but I can tell you the first project that we're starting out on is, I think everybody's aware of, that in Portage Township, we're going to be going in next year and doing a significant amount of work in the Twin Creeks area, which is South Haven. We've now brought them into our stormwater management system. We just received selling out our bonds last week, right around $20 million for the stormwater project. The good news is, we talked about it in our stormwater meeting before this meeting, is that the bond sold in a pretty record period of time. We had forecasted a 3.25% interest on the 20-year bond. It came in right around 3%, 3.08, which is huge savings over the 20-year bond of the life. I think it's right around $850,000 just in the interest savings on the bond for the 20 years. This is an opportunity for us to sort of pat ourselves on the back a little bit. I know people don't like to see that, but I'm going to take this opportunity. A lot of the reason why these bonds sold so quickly and at such a low interest rate was because Wall Street and the people that were on the calls with us noticed and understood the measures and the things that we're doing on our stormwater board with how we're handling our money, our transparency, systems, all of the things that go, and people don't understand when you go out to the public markets and you get bonded for money, there's a lot of due diligence and there's a lot of people that look at everything that you're doing within county government. They liked how we're handling things here on the Stormwater Management Board. That was a large part of Vicki Urbanik and what the auditor has done over there with a lot of our controls and our systems there. This was not just the Stormwater Board, the Board of Commissioners, the Stormwater Department, the Auditor's Department. We had very similar situation on the $30 million capital bond that came back. That actually came in under 3% at 2.88%, which between the two bonds, we saved over a 20-year period about $1.6 million. So we're off to a good start. We bonded out very quickly, which is a good thing, and I think everybody that watches TV and other things, I think we all know we're sort of ready for some interest rates increase over the next couple of years. So I think we got in at the right time. This is pretty cheap money for the most part, and we're tickled to death that it came out this way. So I know we're all patting ourselves on the back, but this is a big deal. We haven't done this for a long time up here at the county, and I can't say enough to all the different departments that were involved how great of a job they did. And I think it also shows the direction that we're heading is the right direction, and we're going to continue to march in that direction too. So I'm done with the self-advertisement, but these are the opportunities where we get to celebrate those things, and this is the only opportunity we get, so bear with us. Part of the RDC, though, getting back to the stormwater drainage, which sort of took me down that hole, one of the Twin Creeks is an area, South Haven, that is in Porter County. It's the largest concentration of unincorporated households in the state of Indiana. It's a very dense area. I always thought it was the largest in Porter County, and the county, or the township assessor, or the township trustee, Brendan Clancy, quickly reminded me the other day in a meeting that this is the largest unincorporated urban area in the state of Indiana, which I think is very significant. One of the things that a lot of folks don't know about, I know the police department does because they patrol that area, it's a very dense area. In the winter months, a lot of people park on the roads. It's hard to snowplow in there in a very compacted, dense area. Since we're going to be doing a lot of stormwater work up there, the RDC is going to be moving in a direction to decommission the old sheriff substation up there on 700 North. We're working with the township to pick up about an acre, a little over an acre of ground, and what we're going to be doing in there through the RDC is we're going to be building a substation for our highway stormwater department. So what we'll have up there is a pole barn where we can put our trucks and stage them in the winter, so we're right there at the source. We'll also have a yard where we can stage all the work that's going to be done up there, and folks, we're talking about 5-6 years of work up there. We got a lot of work to do up there. So we're creating a presence within the South Haven community that our highway department and our stormwater department will have a presence in that community. We think it's very important to our deployment of what we're doing up there. And so that is what the RDC is going to be doing. We're going to be doing some of these little projects within the incorporated areas that technically this board would do in the past, but we have another board that can work in this fashion. We have a whole new group of people, and they're excited to deploy. We're also looking at some of our current ambulance facilities that we have out there. Maybe we need to change some locations of where we stage our ambulances. We're looking at some of our real estate there. Can we redeploy and sell something and move somewhere else to where it gives the county better coverage for our ambulance calls? So a lot of little things going on up here through the redevelopment commission, but we figured instead of it just being a process to hand out grants that really didn't have much meaning, we're putting this board back to work and we're regenerating it. So I think that's sort of the story that's going on here. I think the redevelopment commission meetings are a separate meeting, they're a public meeting, they happen at night, but they will also be televised, they will also be recorded, so you can also go and follow us on the radio or the TV or whatever if you need be. But we're looking forward to getting that board moving again. So there's my long-winded update. Any other questions from the board or anything I missed? All right, we'll keep moving. Sheriff Dave Reynolds, come on forward from the Sheriff's Department. I guess that would be Jeff and Edie. Chief, I should. And, yeah, well, he always sits in the back.
Hi.
He just sits in the back row. Yeah. Good morning.
Morning.
Very suspicious.
So what you have in front of us is an Axon Enterprises agreement. This is a state-mandated TASER testing. Tell us about it. And I'm not volunteering.
Yeah, but we do an annual research TASER training, and what they want us to do is they want us to shoot actually 2 cartridges during this training. So in order to do that, it gets to be quite expensive when you have 65 guys, and plus jail staff, they have to do that. And so Axon has a program where we can save money on an annual cost if we get into a contract and agree to, a 3-year agreement?
I believe 5, yeah.
5?
It's 5. This first year, we've already paid.
Yeah, so we already had the contract, right? Or is that already been signed?
No, that's what we're
Okay.
So each officer is required to shoot 2 cartridges at what?
At a target. Yeah.
Are you
Human target?
Paper
That's
target.
what I heard.
paper.
Or uncles, I mean, if you need to.
You bring in the whole family.
I've seen him shoot, he couldn't hit me anyway.
I would like to be present.
Yeah, please, send out an email on that one.
We actually do use our new recruits during sheriff's camp, and
Nice to know.
Yeah.
they do take a taser.
We'll let our insurance people know.
They gotta know, right?
Yeah.
They gotta know.
Exactly.
All right.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the Axon Enterprise Agreement for state-mandated TASER training. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Next, we have a request to purchase 2 new police vehicles to replace the 2 that were totaled this year. Go ahead. I think I had that pulled that up.
Yeah, so unfortunately, the amount of miles that we drive, and, on one of these occasions, a tree fell on one of our squad cars, so it's not like we can control that. Another one, unfortunate circumstances, vehicle stopped in the middle of the roadway for a lampshade, and our officer rear-ends the vehicles, which is our at fault. And then the other money that we'd like to use to help replace those 2 vehicles is the money that we receive from the auction. So those monies combined would be enough to purchase the 2 vehicles that were totaled.
Any questions from the board?
Motion to approve.
Second with discussion.
Yeah, discussion?
Do we, through the course of the year, do the officers, the patrol officers, do they receive any kind of training or updates?
Yeah, we do annual EVOC training.
EVOC.
So Emergency Vehicle Operating Course. So they have that every year. It's mandated.
So there's really no reason to be running into people?
Well, accidents happen. And we have review boards to review every accident that we have.
I just wanted to be clear on that. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, I think moving forward, we're in the process of, we're going to be bidding out over the next several months our property and casualty insurance, which has automobiles, all of our buildings, workman's comp, all those things. We're going to be going out to market in a pretty big way to see what we can find out. We do know right now, based on a lot of the meetings and things that we've been having from the Commissioner's office, is that the two areas that we really need as a county to get under control is automobile and work comp. And we're not out to single any departments, but usually the departments that are the most active are the ones that have the most problems. Same with highway department, same with some of these other things. As one of the measures that we're going to be implementing going forward is we're going to be, with our new insurance people, is we're going to be putting some safety meetings together. I know that's something that has been talked about and has been tried here in the past at the county, but I think if we want to continue to try to maintain or drive our insurance costs down, one of the things that all the carriers want to see is that we have best practices in place and that we're meeting, we're talking about it, we're trying to be proactive, and
Which affects our premium.
which will affect our premium. Hopefully, if we get everybody on the same page and get everybody moving in the right direction, accidents still happen, but what the insurance companies want to see are the protocols that are in place, and that you're actually talking about it, you're meeting about it, you're trying to make it better. And I think if you have those in place, that will help mitigate some of those rises in costs. So we'll be reaching out to your department, our department, some of our other departments, and we're going to try to put a team together here that where we can meet on a regular basis and just openly discuss these things. It's just something that we need to do, and I think our new insurance carrier, whoever that will be, whoever comes out on the other end of this, that's what we're being advised by our consulting companies. So as we're out there getting bids, these folks know that this is going to be part of the program going forward from a service component. So I just want to give you a heads up that it's coming, and we'll let you folks know when we get it all pulled together. You definitely have a representative or two on there to start giving input.
And the commissioners are aware, given the fact that patrol officers patrol literally tens of thousands of miles a year, that an accident caused from our side is really a rare occasion. But at the same time, because they're patrolling so often, it's really in all of our best interest that we stay proactive on getting as much information to you to pass on to the officers, so everybody just stays very alert and very aware.
Yeah, we've only had one this year, and, knock on wood.
Yeah.
But, we had an officer that was sitting at a traffic light at 6:15 in the morning and was rear-ended by a drunk driver. And that was a brand-new car that had been on 2 shifts. It's stuff we just can't control. One thing we did implement, though, in the last couple of years is we used to make it so that an officer could waive his accident review board, and now we don't allow that to happen. We review every accident that happens at the department.
I think what this is all about is it's just, I don't think any of this is coming because of what recently happened. This is something that needs to happen.
Sure.
And most other governments are doing it. We need to step up and do the same thing. It's all part of best practices. So it really has nothing to do with the timing. We're going out to bid here in another month. We've been getting a lot of questions from our consultant to get our bids right to go out, and this is one that keeps coming up, keeps being talked about. So it really, I think it's just a timing thing for you folks. But this is, we need to be better managers, all of us.
Like Commissioner Good said, we're just, we're ushering in new programs, new agents, and we're ushering in new practices at the same time we're doing it. So that's all it is.
Yep, we're on board.
Good. That's good to hear. I know Andy and them are too. So, we have a motion and a second on the table. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. And I think that's it.
No.
Or did you have something else? Nope, you're good? Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy Halloween.
5:30 or 7:30, right?
Yeah, it will be, won't it? Get the hot chocolate out. Next is recycling and waste reduction, Therese Haller. There she is, she was in the back. I didn't see her. Good morning, Therese. What you got for us?
The district is here to request permission to host a table in the administration lobby during the week of November 13th through the 17th. There's another holiday to be celebrated then. It's America's Recycle Day, which is always on November 15th. So we just wanted to be a presence when the public is coming in, and also to our fellow employees here, just to answer questions about recycling and promote good environmental behavior.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for a request to mark Wednesday, November 15th, 2017, America Recycles Day. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks,
So-
Therese.
Thank you very much.
You bet. Next up, Health Department, Nancy Mathena, Office Manager. Hi, Nancy. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank
Good.
you. How are you?
Great.
Good.
This is the annual.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Go ahead and,
Good morning, all. Here on behalf of the Health Department to ask for your approval to once again sponsor an angel tree on behalf of the Salvation Army. This would be our 5th consecutive year in doing so. This program is very valuable to Porter County families and is very well received, and also very well sponsored by all of the county employees as well.
any questions?
Nope. Great, you're doing this.
Thank you.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to request approval for sponsor of an angel tree for the Salvation Army. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Happy Halloween.
Thank you.
Animal Shelter, Tony Bianchi, Director. Morning, Tony.
Good morning, how are you?
Good, how you doing?
Good.
So you got some quotes for surgical equipment?
We did. We have a quote from DRE, which totals $7,855.40. We have another quote from Henry Schein, which is $8,197.86. And our third quote is from Midwest Veterinary Supply, and the total on that one is $9,636.25 without the shipping. We are suggesting that we go with DRE. It is the most cost-effective, and this is all apples to apples. And this will finalize our surgical equipment that we need for our new surgery room.
Okay, and you got all the other stuff in, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
that came in about a month ago.
Yep.
So.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second to approve
DRE.
DRE for the surgical equipment quote. And what was their quote again, so I can get that on the minutes?
$7,855.40.
Okay.
Correct.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Next.
When are they expecting that to get here?
Once the order is placed, I would expect it within 30 days.
Great.
No, okay.
We're hoping to have it up and at least equipped by the first of the year.
Good.
Everything up in
Good
there.
to be ready for spring, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
Kitten season.
Yeah, no kidding. Larson Danielson proposal to pour concrete for the dog runs, the amount of $11,540.
Yes.
And that is for the dog runs that,
The main area in the back of the shelter, and then the small breed runs on the north side of the shelter.
okay.
So it's all of them.
That's everything, then. Everything would be concrete outside then.
Actually seems kind of reasonable.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a lot of
It is
work.
a lot of work because they have to do each one individually now, so, yeah.
Yep.
So I thought it was a pretty good price.
Do we know, Rhonda, do we know when we're going to be seeing, has anybody talked to LD when we'll be seeing the final draw, the retainage draw and the final closeout of the project?
Yeah.
We may want to give LD a call and see if They've got that all put together. I'd like to finish that out for the end of the year, so we're not dealing with this next year.
I agree.
Yeah, but it's also been good because we've had a few weeks out there,
Yeah.
and they've been able to come out and fix some things, so I think they would have done it anyway, but it's
Yeah.
still nice to have a little bit of money sitting there just in
Yeah.
case you get their attention, so,
Yeah.
but I think it's been
Yeah.
close to 6-7 months, I think
Mhm.
they've held on
Yeah,
long
and
enough,
they
so.
always respond.
Yeah,
Every
and
time you
they've
call.
been excellent,
Yes,
right.
they have been.
So, I'll open up the floor, or did we already vote on it?
Nope, motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second to approve the pour concrete for the dog runs in the amount of $11,540. I believe with this change order, we're still under budget,
We are.
so that's good, and I'm going to keep saying that. So that's why I want to get that final drop done.
Understood.
So we're under budget. So all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign, motion carries. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
You.
Now comes the long part of the meeting.
For the troublemaker.
For the troublemaker, Lori Daly from the Expo Center. Yep.
Morning.
Good morning.
I just have a bunch of transfers to get us through the end of the year.
Well, why don't you take us through this?
Oh, good thing I have it on the wall.
Yep.
So I'm moving $2,500 to water and sewage. The water bill for the year was a little bit higher than anticipated, and we didn't have any water leaks, so we just...
Do you think any of that was attributed to the problems we had out there during the fair, when we had the sewage issue and all that?
It could have been, however, they covered that bill, so that wouldn't have been on us.
Okay,
They paid anything during that month.
okay.
You've had more of
Glad
that
I asked.
too, right?
More events, yes, more consumption,
Okay.
more campground usage for our events. So
Do
that's
we do all
part of
these
it.
at once, or do we have to do separate?
You know,
We can do them all at once, so why don't you rifle through them and we'll vote one time.
Okay, let me refresh my memory.
You need it?
No, I got it right here. $2,600 from workman's comp. Thankfully, that was lower this year. I was able to move it over to maintenance supplies just to get us through the end of the year.
Okay.
Is that the new one? We have $7,000 that I moved from power to hourly to get us through the end of the year, and $1,500 from power to disposal. So our contract was not up when we initially started with Revelation, so our contracts are coming due. So we have canceled the Allied or Republic for recycling and for the compactor. So it'll start January 1st for the compactor, February for recycling,
Are those one-year agreements?
3-year. The new
Okay.
one's coming up for 3.
Have you had any discussions with the Fair Board about that compactor?
No, not yet.
Because I'm thinking when we get ready to start renovating that property out there, that location right there is not in a real good spot.
Correct.
So we need to start having some conversations with the Fair Board if we're going to move this,
Mhm.
and if we're going to use it going forward, or if it's going to go further back out of the way by where they have all their stuff down there. But we need to start figuring that out, because it's going to have to move for the renovation,
Correct.
if we're going to put that outdoor patio in.
Right,
So,
right.
And if Waste Revelations is in there and active now,
Yes, yes,
the compactor may not even be necessary.
correct. I think we're going to get ready to look at that over the next few months to see. They were able to get the cost per ton down $11 a ton, I think it was, so that's pretty substantial.
yeah.
With the garbage that we go.
I just want to make sure we're not locked into a contract with the compactor if we want to move out.
No, because we
Okay.
own the compactor, so it's just.
We do, or the Fair Board?
No, the county.
The county. Okay.
We own the compactor.
I was told earlier it was the Expo, or the Fair Board. but-
I think originally, and I'll double check on this is what I wanted to look into, they bought it for the grounds and then gave it to us.
Okay. So no more talking trash. And then you got 5 transfer funds, $900.
From event expense to cover the additional taxes for the hourly increase.
And then you have one more.
The last one was kind of an emergency transfer with letting go of a staff member. We're having to replenish or replace some equipment in the sound room. So this was $10,000. We moved it from advertising. Next month, I'll be going in front of the council and coming back to you to get an additional to replenish the advertising money.
Yep, okay. So we have all of those 6 transfers.
Motion to approve the 6 transfers.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve 6 transfers from the Expo Center. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lori.
Development in Stormwater Management, Mike Novotny, County Engineer, come on down. Hi, Mike.
Good morning.
Yeah. So your first one is with Wolpert?
Yeah, we have 3 items in front of you this morning. The first one is a contract with Wolpert through the Indiana Office of Technology. Basically, the state flies, takes aerial photography for us. You can buy in if you want to get higher resolution aerial photographs. We do, so that we can match what we've currently got, the resolution we've currently got. The upgrade cost for that is $31,239.94. That'll be paid out of Stormwater and Plan Commission. So we're requesting approval of that agreement with Wolpert and Indiana Office of Technology.
So how long will that upgraded aerial how long will that usually last? Is it on a 3-year program?
I believe they fly those every couple of years.
Every couple of years?
Yeah.
Okay.
And obviously, building a historical library as well, being able to look back at development activity that's happened in the past, helps us with our planning and understanding of activity out there as well.
Mike, what was the cost on that?
$31,239.94, which would be paid out of Stormwater and Plan Commission.
And this, again, for all you in the audience and for those being recorded, this, again, is part of our effort from the county government standpoint to provide a much more robust GIS system than what we've had in the past. And that march continues. I think we're just starting to make it better. This will obviously assist, but with all the other items that we're putting into GIS right now, new stormwater data points that we found out this summer and a lot of other things. So for those people that are interested in this, we're trying to make this much easier and much more educational for people to be able to go online to our website and traverse through the county terrain and all the different things that are through there.
Mm-hmm.
So this is something that we've been working on for the last couple of years, and we will continue to keep working on moving forward to have the best. We want to have the best robust GIS system in Porter County, and that's what we're doing. I know the cities and towns some of them have theirs too. We're actually talking to one of the cities about maybe maybe them sort of folding into us, and maybe down the road one day we can have a discussion where we have one GIS in Porter County and everybody can share in that rather than all of us having our separate ones. But that's a discussion for another day. We're going to get to be the best first, and then we're going to come after everybody and tell them to come on board. So that's where we're at.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for Wolpert Inc., the GIS agreement for the update of the upgraded aerial photography. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Next up, United Consult.
Yeah, so the second item is a on-call services agreement with United Consulting. Jen Graukuck with United is here this morning, just if there's any questions. United was selected as our consultant to do our bridge inventory and inspection work for the next 4 years. What we're doing at this point, this is an on-call services agreement that would allow us to engage United on an as-needed basis to prepare plans and specs for bridge maintenance work that we need to have an outside contractor do. We currently don't have in-house capability of doing that. Hopefully that'll change soon, but this will help bridge the gap, allow us to engage. There you go. You caught that. Allow us to bridge the gap, allow us to engage United on an as-needed basis and put together those plans and specs for those sort of smaller bridge maintenance and upkeep projects.
I'm going to circle back to GIS again.
Yes.
But one of the reasons that United Consulting was
Absolutely.
as the county's bridge engineering firm was, they were one of, I think, only of the consultants that came in, that everything that they do with regards to our bridge inspection program can be uploaded into GIS, to where now you can go up and check out a bridge, and you can see the actual history of that bridge, and again, it's part of that movement toward a better GIS system. So our consultant now, doing our bridge inspections, will be able to fold that into our GIS program as well, too. So just wanted to stay on topic there, so.
And just to point out, this would be a one-year agreement with
1 year.
United without there's no automatic renewal on it.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't do those.
Right.
No more auto renews. All right, open up the floor.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to improve United Consulting for an on-call services agreement for the new bridge inspection engineering program. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. And next.
Third and final item is really just a signature page. Beam Longest and Neff, our current engineering consultant doing our bridge inventory and inspection work, has wrapped up the required annual bridge inspections, Phase 2A, we call it, for the 20 bridges requiring annual inspection. Staff has reviewed the draft report, and we recommend signature of the cover sheet. Just indicates acceptance of the report, and then that can be forwarded on to INDOT for approval, for submittal.
Will this be the final action for BLN?
I believe so,
Okay.
yes.
Any questions?
No. Can we make a motion for this?
Yeah, I think yep.
Yes.
Move to approve or accept.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the Phase 2A bridge inspection report from Beam Longest and Neff. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Mike.
Happy Halloween.
Yeah, same to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Plan Commission, Christie. Good morning. So first on the list here, we have a rezone.
We have two rezones and then amendment to the Porter County Code. The first rezone was for the Economic Center was missed when we were doing the zoning in 2007, so we need to correct it on our end for them to move forward with some projects they have going on. The second, do you want to do these all together?
No.
Okay, so the first one is to correct what we missed in 2007 and changing it from, what was it?
RR to institutional?
Yeah, to IN.
Motion to approve.
Well, we have to do, this is first reading.
Oh, so I got to close it and open it? Yeah, I think we'll be fine. All right, so we're going to pause the commissioners' meeting, open up into a public meeting. What we're going to do here is in a public meeting, we're going to give 3 opportunities for anyone wishing to come forward and speak in favor. Anybody, then we will move to anybody wishing to come forward and speaking against. Then we will close that and move back to the commissioners' meeting for a vote. So with that, we will have first opportunity for anybody to come forward to speak against this rezone. Second call, anybody wishing to come in front of us to speak against this rezone. Third and final approach, anybody wishing to speak against this rezone. Now we will move to anybody, first call for anybody wishing to speak for this rezone. Second call, anybody wishing to speak in behalf in favor of this rezone. Third and final time, anybody wishing to come forward and speaking for this rezone. With that, public hearing is closed. We'll now open it up to the board. I'll open up the floor for any questions or motions.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the rezone for I-2 General Industrial District to CM Moderate Intensity.
No.
This is the second one.
That's, yeah.
RR.
Oh, so they went out, okay.
Oh, you went out of order.
Yeah. rezone RR Rural Residential District to IN Institutional District. Petitioner is the Islamic Church Center.
Mr. Chairman, I do have some questions.
Okay?
Where is this located exactly?
It's in the Pines,
It's 1606 North, 500 East.
Yeah.
And it's been there since the 70s.
We had neighbors
16 acres.
come in to the Plan Commission meeting along with the petitioners and discussed concerns. It was very cordial, and they were in support of it. The neighbors were before we voted.
Well, why would it have to go to an industrial zoning?
That's what all of our churches are.
Institutional.
It's institutional.
Not industrial.
Or, I'm sorry, institutional, okay. And the neighbors there seem to be,
They were
well,
fine.
it's even more, this was a church, and when we did the comprehensive rezone in '06, '07, '08, we frankly missed this being put to institutional as it should have been, and was mismarked RR. So the reason why it came up is because when they came in to put a small addition on, they weren't in the right zoning. That's when all the research was done to find out they were missed being put in the right zoning back when we did it in '07. So this is really just fixing the issue and putting them to the correct zoning for the use they have been.
They're just adding bathrooms on to an existing church.
Church, yep.
And it's consistent with all the other churches in Porter County.
Yep, okay. I'll open up the floor for first
I made a
reading.
motion, or no, I guess that was before. Motion to approve on first reading.
second.
We have a motion and a second on first reading for the rezone of RR Rural Residential District to IN Institutional District for the Islamic Church Center. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll be back here November 14th for second reading. Next is another rezone. This is for I-2 General Industrial District to CM Moderate Intensity to Commercial District. Petitioner is the Old Town Suites LLC, Westgate Ponds. This is first reading also. Can you give us a little bit of a description as to what's happening here?
Do you
Sure.
master plan, sir?
Sure, my name is Chris Schmelz, I'm with Old Town Suites. We are downzoning the northern part of this lot from industrial to CM to allow for commercial uses.
Okay.
Allowed by the moderate intensity CM district.
This is actually a downzoning.
Yep.
Correct.
So,
Currently zoned I-2.
so what we'll do here is I'll pause the commissioners' meeting, open up a public meeting. Again, we'll do the same process. First of all, I'd like to offer first call for anybody wishing to come forward and speak against this rezone. Second call, anybody wishing to speak against this rezone. Third and final time, anybody wishing to come forward to speak against this rezone. We will now move to first call, anybody wishing to speak in favor of this rezone. Second call, anybody wishing to come forward to speak in favor of this rezone.
Would you like me to put my favor in there?
You can.
We're excited about bringing some commercial, different options to the northern part of the lot on 130. We've talked to our neighbors, Mr. Limpetus, about it, and he's in favor as well, and so we're looking forward to moving forward.
Okay.
Geez, you want to make Gus happy.
Third, not going there, third and final time, anybody wishing to come up and speak in favor of this ordinance. With that, the public hearing is closed. We will now open up the floor to the board for action on the first reading.
Motion to approve on first reading.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the rezone for I-2, General Industrial District to CM, Moderate Intensity Commercial District. Petitioner is the Old Town Suites, Westgate Ponds. This is first reading. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. We'll be back here on November 14th for second reading, I believe. And that's a first reading too then. Thank you. Third, on the list. We have an ordinance that is establishing, this would be a new ordinance that would be establishing requirements for carbon monoxide detection on new construction going forward in unincorporated Porter County. So this would be an addition to our zoning or our ordinances for building. And Christie, do you have a little segue there?
This was in front of the Plan Commission with a vote of 8-0. And right now, we do have, the current code only requires smoke detectors, so this would require all new buildings to have both structures.
This is, again, a first reading. So what we will do is pause the Commissioners' meeting, open up a public meeting. We will go through the same format again. First, we will ask first call, anybody wishing to come forward and speak against this ordinance. Second call, anybody wishing to come forward and speak against this new ordinance. Third and final call, anybody wishing to come forward and speaking against this new ordinance. Okay, now we'll move to the fours. First call for anybody wishing to come forward speaking in favor of this ordinance. If you do come in favor, please give your name and address, and you can stand right there and go from there. Thank you.
Yes, hi. My name is Kathy Sipple. I'm from Valparaiso, and I'm here representing the Lindsay O'Brien Kessling Wishing Tree Foundation, or LOK Wishing Tree Foundation. I've worked for them for nearly 5 years, and through my work with them, I have gotten to know very well Dot Kessling, Dorothy Kessling, who is a LaPorte native. Her daughter, Lindsay O'Brien Kessling, passed away at the young age of 22 in 2010 due to accidental carbon monoxide poisoning. And she was living in Arizona at the time. She was a LaPorte native, as I already mentioned. And those are two of the 4 states at the time that did not have residential requirements for CO detectors. So just going down that rabbit hole and finding out how preventable this is, I've got a few statistics that I'd like to share. There's a report, a white paper that's available on ScienceDirect.com that talks about the societal costs of carbon monoxide poisoning, accidental and other. But since this is what could be preventable with alarms, I'll stick to just the accidental. There is, of course, death to worry about, and there are thousands of accidental deaths caused by carbon monoxide each year. But what's not measured very often is the tens of thousands of deaths, tens of thousands of those who are affected by carbon monoxide with non-fatal outcomes. And I've had the misfortune, or it's very sad to speak to some of these people. There's a woman who was a doctor, and she, lost her income. She's permanently brain damaged. She can't perform, medicine of any kind. So there's hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost income. And although there's like $300 million attributed to the death cost, the societal cost of the non-fatal is actually much, much higher. So combined, it's about $1.3 billion each year attributed to accidental carbon monoxide poisoning. So if you can't do it for the heart or even, following the money, it just really makes sense that in that same study, it shows that carbon monoxide alarms in residential housing is cost-effective. It was updated in 2015, and I think the numbers speak for themselves.
Thank you.
Commissioner members, my name is Marvin Miller. I'm Vice President of the local Firefighters Local 1124. As I'm standing here today, I represent 70 members of Valparaiso professional firefighters. We would like to voice our unanimous voice and stand in support and encourage the CO ordinance that's on the table. As emergency responders, this ordinance hits close to home, and it is vitally important in the community, and we would like you guys to consider this. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Second call, anybody wishing to come forward and speak in favor of this ordinance. Third and final call, anybody wishing to come forward and speaking in favor of this ordinance. We will now close the public meeting, and we will open up the floor to the Board of Commissioners for any comments.
This is just kind of a no-brainer. These are cheap detection devices and all kinds of benefits that you all mentioned, and protecting Porter County families.
So this ordinance, is this just on new construction?
Yeah, they can't
correct.
regulate stuff that's already there.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering, since we don't have a mechanism to regulate it, I'm trying to figure out why we're doing it.
No, we can regulate new construction, we just
Right.
can't do,
But once it's in, it's not being regulated. Nobody's checking it.
well, same with fire, same
They're
with smoke
hardwired.
detectors.
They're hardwired with a battery backup, I believe, that then beeps like your other smoke. It acts in the same manner as a smoke detector. So if the battery's low, it'll drive you crazy till you change the battery. That's the whole point, why it drives you crazy. So I think, what would be the case if someone came in and did an addition on a hotel? I'm sorry, wrong business. On a house. Jeez.
Addition, no, we wouldn't make them because it's
Okay.
legal nonconformity.
Would you require it for the new addition? No?
No, this is a little bit of a stopgap because we are anticipating the state adopting some overlay over the top of this. So this gets us to that, and then once the state does it, then we'll have a little bit clearer vision moving forward. But this is a larger kind of movement, and we're just trying to get ahead of it a little bit here before the state. And you know how the state is it either happens very quickly or takes very long, and we aren't in control of that. So this gets us kind of ahead of the curve a bit.
Okay.
Motion to approve. Is this a two-reading thing?
There's first reading, yep.
First reading.
And we don't have any idea what this is going to add to the cost of a new home, say a 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom home.
$1,500, I'm guessing? Not that much? If they're hardwired, $1,000, $800? Yeah.
Here's what I'm concerned about. First of all, I know that today's technology, the furnaces that they put into homes are not the same furnaces they put in homes 20 years ago. There is no pilot light. Everything's electronic. So I don't even know if there's a chance for carbon monoxide to even build up because of that new technology, the way it's designed today. I don't know.
Well, you could also have a pipe leak. You could have, it could be...
Car in the garage.
It could be a lot of different things, so, and I don't think the cost is really that significant. I know some of the homes we used to build, we were putting them in a long time ago, just doing it.
Yeah, I know. That's another one of my, homeowners can freely go and buy this themselves, and they don't need government to be telling them what they need to be put, sticking into their homes or their businesses. Again, I think that if you want to prevent something like that, you certainly have the ability and incorporate the cost in your, however you want to do it, to stick it in your existing residence or in your new residence. I don't understand why government has to come in and dictate that to you. I'm not a big fan of that. I think it's a great idea. I have in my own home. But I just don't think it's the place of government to be telling people how to do that themselves.
I stick by my motion to approve on first reading.
I'll second. So we have a motion and a second to approve on first reading an ordinance establishing requirements for carbon monoxide detention in unincorporated Porter County. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Christie. Have a great day. Next on the list is Scott Niekamp from Arcadis. And this is a request for installation of monitoring wells in the right-of-ways along County Road North 450 East, and 200 North on behalf of the Valparaiso City Utilities. Morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Steve Poulos, and I serve as the Utilities Director for the City of Valparaiso. Our team today includes the gentleman next to me, Scott Niekamp, who is our engineering consultant and an experienced hydrogeologist. Behind me, I also have Mr. Shiwa Chen, who is our Water Operations and Maintenance Manager, and then we also have Mr. Sean Chifflet, who oversees our wellhead protection program. Due to our large investment a couple of years ago, building a well field northeast of Porter County Airport, our purpose today is to ask the commissioners their blessing to install 5 groundwater monitoring wells within strategic locations of our existing well field within the county right-of-way. We have worked closely with Bob Thompson and also with Rich Hudson in preparation for today. Additionally, to provide you some context, I had sent you a fact sheet about a week ago, and that's also included in the manual that I provided to you. We have 10 slides for you today. I promise we won't take much of your time, so I'll hand it over to our expert, Scott, and then we'll be available to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you.
All right, I'll try to keep it pretty brief. I did want to give you a quick overview of the proposal for the new monitoring wells. As Steve stated, the city recently built a new well field out in the county. So I wanted to give you a description of the new well field and the reason why it needed to be built. I wanted to talk briefly on the Indiana Wellhead Protection Program and why wellhead protection is important for this well field. I'll talk briefly about the monitoring wells themselves and what they'll be used for, how those monitoring wells would be built, and also how the city would need to access those monitoring wells periodically to collect groundwater quality samples. All right, so the city began operating its new well field. As you can see on the figure there, it's located southeast of the city, north of US Route 30. It began operating that well field back in 2016. Now, before that new well field was built, the south end of the city was supplied water by the airport well field, which you can also see on the figure there, and the airport water treatment plant located nearby. Now, the wells in the airport well field are very old. They don't produce nearly as much water as they used to. And on top of that, several of the wells are on the Porter County Airport property. So the lease that the city has with the Porter County Airport is set to expire here in the next decade. So once the lease expires, that land may not be available for them for water supply wells. So the city needed to build a new well field to replace the lost supply from from their existing wells, but also to allow for some growth in the city. If you look at the figure there where it's shown new well field, 6 new production wells or supply wells were built in that well field. And they look something like this. You see on the outside there is a well house. On the inside you can see the well itself, well pump, raw water line, and some instrumentation and controls. All right, so if a spill were to occur near one of the supply wells, that contamination could, reach the wells and contaminate those wells. So if you look at the schematic on the upper right-hand side of the figure there, any spill that would occur at the surface, that contamination can migrate down through the soils into the aquifer and eventually migrate over to the well, thereby contaminating the well. So both the Federal Safe Drinking Water Act and the Indiana Groundwater Protection Act require all public water utilities to develop wellhead protection plans. So that's essentially a plan to protect those supply wells from contamination. So the city's been working on developing its wellhead protection plan for that new well field. Now, as part of that protection plan, the city delineated all the portions of that aquifer that contribute water to those supply wells. And it's important to perform water quality monitoring in that area. The idea is to be able to detect any contaminants that might be migrating to the supply wells before they actually reach those supply wells. So again, the idea is to have some early warning so that you can deal with that contamination before it impacts the supply wells. All right, so why is wellhead protection so important for this well field? As Steve said, the total investment for the new supply wells, the associated raw water line, the improvements to the water treatment plant to treat that water were on the order of $18 million. So because it was such a large investment, we really need to protect that investment. The city also needs to provide a continuous supply of water to its residents, and the city is interested in promoting the health of the regional economy. It's difficult to get businesses to locate in your area if there's not a reliable supply of water for them. So the figure showing up on the right there is the actual area of the aquifer that is contributing water to the well field within a 10-year time period. So any contaminants introduced along that heavy black line in that figure would take about 10 years to migrate to the supply wells in the well field. Any contaminants introduced inside of that would be less of a time to migrate to the wells. So this 10-year travel time is also known as the wellhead protection area. And also, if you look at the thinner black lines, that is the path that the contaminants would migrate through to get to the supply wells if any contaminants were introduced. So we selected some proposed monitoring well locations, and again, the idea is to place those monitoring wells in those migration paths so we would be able to detect any contaminants migrating towards those supply wells well in advance of the contamination getting to the supply wells. So there were a lot of additional limitations when we were selecting these proposed locations. Almost this entire area is privately owned. The only public land that was available to us was the rights-of-way along the county roads. But also, there were quite a few utilities running through these rights-of-way, which just made it too tight for, placing monitoring wells there. So it ended up being very few locations that we had to select from. So the ones you see in that figure there, we believe are the best, most strategic locations that accomplish the goal. So as Steve said, we are proposing to install 5 monitoring wells at the locations that you see there. So as I said, we selected some locations along the rights-of-way. We went out and staked those locations, as you see in the picture there. We made Indiana 811 calls for each of the well locations to make sure there were no conflicts with utilities. We hired a professional surveyor to survey the edges of the right-of-way to be absolutely sure that those proposed locations were within the rights-of-way. The slide here shows an example of one of the survey sheets from the surveyor, and we have some hard copies of these for each of the well sites if you're interested in seeing those after the presentation. But again, the surveyor went out and surveyed the edge of pavement, the actual monitoring well location, the edge of the right-of-way, again, to make sure we were within the right-of-way, but also a sufficient distance off the edge of the pavement as to not cause any problems. So how would these monitoring wells be built? Well, the monitoring wells would be drilled with a drilling rig, such as you see in the picture in the middle there. That drilling rig would drill a borehole that is about 8 inches in diameter, down to a depth of around 50 feet. So inside that 8-inch borehole, we would install a 2-inch PVC monitoring well. So 2-inch diameter, we're talking this big, it's a pretty small well. At the bottom of the well, there would be a well screen, such as you see on the picture on the lower left. It's slotted to allow water from the aquifer into the inside of the monitoring well so it can be sampled. Around that well screen, outside of the screen, but inside of the borehole, we would place a filter sand that essentially keeps the sediment from coming into the well. And above that filter sand, we would install a sealant in that remaining open borehole to prevent any surface water, any surface contamination from migrating down the outside of that well. This schematic here shows a typical construction for a monitoring well. Each of these monitoring wells would be constructed in a similar manner. Again, we have paper copies of these that we can pass out if you're interested afterwards. So I'm sure you're most interested in what the monitoring wells would look like at the surface. It would look very similar to what you see in the photos here. All the monitoring wells would have what we call a flush-to-grade completion, meaning at the surface it would be built even with the ground surface. There would be no stick-up above the land. It would be finished with a steel well cap surrounded by a small concrete well pad just to set it in the ground surface, make sure it's stable in the ground. The typical dimensions for the well cap plus the concrete pad is around 1.5 feet by 1.5 feet. So again, it's very small, very unobtrusive. It is low visibility to any passersby. It also should present no obstruction to traffic or any road maintenance activities such as snow plowing. All right, so the city would need to access those wells periodically to collect those water quality samples, again, to make sure there's no contamination moving towards their supply wells. That sampling is typically done on an annual to semi-annual basis, so that they're not out there very often. A typical sample event would be 1 to 2 hours per well, so it doesn't take a long time. The equipment and the methods used to sample these monitoring wells are pretty uninvasive. Example of the equipment is shown in the figure there. The pumps used to extract the water are all portable. There's also some other portable equipment that's typically used, such as a portable water level meter, some handheld field meters. And after the sampling event is done, all that equipment is removed, and then the well cap can be locked, that prevent any tampering in between sampling events. And again, because it is flush to grade, it is low visibility, that should minimize any tampering risk to these wells. So that was a real quick summary there. Did want to give you the chance to ask any questions if you have any.
The only question I have, and I already know if you can answer this, is along these particular roads where they'll be located, is there any ditching there now?
There's some very shallow side ditches typically.
Are you on the other side of that?
We kept it out of the bottom of the side ditches, yes.
Okay. That was my only concern, that we didn't come along there and disturb it with some new highway worker with a backhoe.
Any other questions from the board?
Got to monitor the water.
Yep, I know you've been out there for the last couple of years getting that all put together. I know you've also been working with Bob real
Yes.
closely too, and working out all those things, and so, and with Mike back here, so he's shaking his head yes. So
Yeah, they've been very helpful.
Yeah, I don't have any questions. We're glad you guys can get more water. It's sort of important.
We'll take it.
Yeah, we'll take it, right.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve request for the installation of monitoring wells in the rights-of-way along County Road 450 East and 200 North on behalf of the Valparaiso City Utilities. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Let's go get those wells in.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Good seeing you. Yep. Next on the agenda is Valparaiso events. Do we have anybody from there? I don't think we do, so we'll just read them out. We have a request to use the courthouse grounds on Friday, December 1st, from 5 to 8 p.m. to hold Holly Days, which will include a live nativity and holiday caroling. That's something that happens every year. Open the floor for the board.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the courthouse, use of the courthouse grounds on Friday, December 1st, from 5 to 8 p.m. for holidays. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And the last thing on the agenda, anybody wishing to address this board, please come forward. And with that, this board stands in recess. Thank you.